Hello, everyone, and welcome to a somewhat different
Special
slash unique
edition.
edition of BTP Reacts Shitty Intro.
A custom taste of taint.
Ooh,
There you go.
Custom ordered taste of taint.
Yeah. So,
accurate.
if you haven't seen the video or the Wheel of Time TV video tags going around that Vance, the Bard of the Red Hand, started. It has made it to us by way of Malkier Talks. Rob over at Malkier Talks has tapped us
Robbie!
to answer these 9 questions about the TV series and kind of what we're thinking. Pretty good questions. I've watched his video and a bit of Vance's at this point. I'll finish it eventually if work can ever slow down. But
Oh, sorry, you were
Yeah.
serious.
so we'll answer the questions. We'll kind of go around the Zoom room and answer the questions as best as we can, reasonably timed. If we can manage that, I don't know if I can, but we'll try. And then
We're gonna do this. All right. The Black
Yeah.
Tower. We know how to be succinct. Do might as well. That was succinct. Boom.
Ashimon, answer.
Ashimon answered. Go, Andrew. Question. Let's
And
just do
then
it.
At the
Question one.
end, each one of us will pick another content creator to tap for this that hopefully hasn't already been tagged or tapped, whatever the right way
And
to
worst
say it
case scenario, as long as they haven't actually done a video yet, you're not wrong.
is. Yeah.
Just try to tag somebody who hasn't done a video yet.
Yeah. All right. So question one. What is the biggest change you want to see in season 1?
Just real quick before you actually go into your answer, to give you a moment to think about it, they are talking about the first season being at the most books 1 and 2 with sprinklings of New Spring. So you don't need to go any past the Great Hunt. Just basically what you'd like to see changed from the books to the screen anywhere in books 1 and 2.
Yep, and that is also where your spoiler warning is. We won't go beyond the Great Hunt, or do our best to, if I remember to edit it out. So biggest change I want to see in season 1. So I'm going to say that I want them to. The only biggest change I can think of right now is I want us to actually see Amon's Field in the middle of Winter Night.
I'm
hoping that we actually
celebration.
Yeah, and I think that would be really cool. Pretty early on, get a really cool, incredible action scene to introduce you to some of the baddies and some of the badasses and all that. So,
I think that's a pretty viable one to happen too.
Oh, that's the biggest one I can think of right off the top of my head, because
that's a good one. I like
I'm not
that.
Professional and I don't think of things before we record.
Sauron Gar approved.
Oh man, the biggest thing that I would like to see changed from season 1, again, if they end up including this, because I do hope that they go a little past book 1. I don't necessarily think that we need 1 book 1 season, so I'm going to go from the Great Hunt. I would actually like to see less of a pettiness between the 3 Emond's Field Ta'veren. In the beginning of book 2, there is a lot of pettiness between them. And again, I understand why it is. I'm certainly not saying I don't get it, but I don't like it at all. And I feel like it doesn't actually add nearly as much as I feel it was intended to. Especially when you can't 100% hear Rand's thoughts about why he's doing it, when you can't 100% hear Matt's thoughts about why he's saying these things. And so I hope that they downplay that just a little bit, since we can't actually get the point of view and the sort of outside stated thoughts of the 3 Ta'veren.
Biggest change I want to see more of the Green Man. Okay, I know he has like 2 seconds of screen time, but I want I want to see more of the Green Man. It's sweet and simple. I want more of him. Question 1 in the bag.
Yeah,
all right,
it'll make sense. Go
Completely
ahead, Daniel.
seamless as well.
Yeah, definitely.
No movie editry there at all. Question number 2.
Question number 2. So question number 2 is, what is the most important thing, again, only pulled from the first 2 books plus the prologue, that the show should not change? And my answer is actually going to fly a little bit in the face of Rob's answer in his video. I actually think that the sequence at the Eye of the World should almost exactly follow the way that it is in the books. Again, not necessarily shot for shot, not necessarily, this, that, and the other, but the fact that Agenor and Balthamel and Balzamon all show up at different points in the Eye of the World. I do like that. I feel like you don't ever really need to show Rand going to Tarwin's Gap. You can actually tell that in the stories of the warriors. But at the same time, I definitely feel like those 3 entities kind of all need to be there to, as Josh stated, sort of to get the Green Man in there and make him fucking badass by fucking murdering a Forsaken.
Just stopped after you said fucking.
Forsaken also badass, that he just flicks Moraine aside like an ant. And then again, just Rand coming into his own and just busting up Balzamon. I feel like all of those 3 scenes are actually very important to give you foundation into what happens into the later things.
I thought you were going to stop after you said I want to see the Green Man fucking.
Yeah, I want to see the Green Man fuck.
That's a fanfic that they wrote.
You could call him a nymphomaniac.
Hey!
Oh God, stop it.
I see what you did there, buddy. Okay, so is that now my answering next, or
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I had it. Oh, the Badger. Like,
oh God,
that cannot be removed, because I know that's a lot of people's favorite, but it speaks to sort of the youth and innocence of those characters. That element needs to be there. We need to get a sense of how young and innocent and just completely oblivious these kids are.
He's just a poor boy with a poor badger.
Exactly. And we need that to really create a character progression in the series. Look at Luke Skywalker in episode 4. I was going to go to the Dodger Station to pick up some power converters. And then go to Return of the Jedi. And then again, further along the way in The Last Skywalker. We need them to start at a very young, oblivious space in order to show that character. So I think something like the Badger and those childish pranks, that needs to be there.
Are you, Josh, real quick, are you talking about actually showing it? Because in the books, they never actually show it. Matt just talks about it. And then they talk about a number of other pranks that he does. Are you saying that they need to talk, like, keep in that he's talking about it? Or
okay, so it doesn't specifically have to be the Badger, but I do hope that they show and or talk about at least whatever mechanism they need to utilize to portray that youth and innocence. I hope that aspect stays in the story.
Solid. Cool.
Sweet. So mine, I'm going to have to adjust settings in Zoom because I can tell that the noise gate is being a pain. There we go.
Sweet.
Anyway, so mine is going to be they definitely should not change the scenes between Egwene and Padan Fane in Faldara. They should definitely maintain that to kind of set the stage for just how big of a baddie Padan Fane really is, and all the scenes we're going to be able to get from him. Assuming we get the same amount of scenes of Padan Fane as we get in the books, we're going to need every single one of them for any justice to be done to Padan Fane.
I agree with that.
I feel that.
Yep.
I like that.
So question 3, Josh.
Take it away.
Question 3. All right, here we go. which character or characters do you want streamlined? Okay. This can be if two characters, if it just makes sense to combine them into one, or their interaction or something like that, or if you just think they've got just a little too much in the beginning and you feel like that could be truncated a bit and not sacrifice a lot to the story. I do have one. It's probably going to be pretty controversial. Sen Bui. I love Senbui. Don't get me wrong. Every small town needs the cranky old man yelling at kids to get off his lawn or to get off his thatch. I'm okay with that. But for the TV show purposes, we can have one scene of Senbui being a pain in the ass, and then we can move right along. That's it.
Fair enough. Because I can't really say like Pat and Vane and his party of dark friends. Honestly, I think that it's not necessarily, because I'm trying to think characters to streamline, and I can think of scenes to streamline. You know what? I'm gonna go with this one.
No, they meet Gull on the way to tier 2, dude.
That's not the one I'm going with.
No, I know, but Josh just put it in chat.
Oh, so I'm gonna go with this one. I think that they can condense down and get rid of Huron and just combine what he does with Perrin.
Oh God, it hurts.
And then I'm not going to go into it obviously, but for things that happen further along in the series twice, it gives more credence for why Perrin is involved with those emotional moments with someone else. So that's what I'm going to go with, and partially because I can't think of anything else.
Okay.
All right. Personally, I think that they can actually pare down the White Cloaks. I think that every scene that we have with the White Cloaks should be Child Bayar and Dane Bornhold, or Joffrey Bornhold. I think that if you only really focus on those three White Cloaks and have every other White Cloak be nameless, faceless stormtrooper, I would 100% be down with that until a certain point when we meet cool ones. Yes, TK421, and also, aren't you a little short for a White Cloak?
Huh? Oh, the uniform. Oh, the tabard.
But yeah, I think that the White Cloaks, especially when, Rand, there are a number of good ways to show that Rand is going a little nuts because he's channeled for the first time. And the scene where they, fuck with the White Cloaks in the city is
awesome.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, it works for a book, but I feel like if you're really looking to trim fat, then just having the White Cloaks be a Perrin thing, and not really getting Rand involved, and as little as possible getting Moiraine involved. I actually really like trying to streamline that into a Perrin story, if you will.
Cool. So question 4. Which cast member are you most excited to see bring their character to life? I've talked about it before. I've been a fairly decent, though not a huge, because I don't watch all of her movies, Rosamund Pike fan. I have loved her acting since 007 Die Another Day with Pierce Brosnan. So, of course, it's going to be Rosamund Pike bringing Moiraine to life for me.
That's out of curiosity.
Purely for me.
Have you seen I Care a Lot?
I have not.
You should. It's actually really fun. Anyone who's watching this, go see I Care a Lot. If you like kind of thriller-ish action movies, it's solid. Mine is Daniel Henney, without a doubt. I love the character of Lon so much, and Daniel Henney has actually been in a number of things that I have thought were awesome, and he has been a big reason for that. And so seeing him sort of let loose and go ahead and become this dope badass character I'm
gonna be so good.
Excited to see that.
I gotta say, Daniel, for me, it was a toss up between Daniel Henney and the answer I'm going to go with. The big selling point for Daniel Henney for me was when they did the big Q&A. One of the questions was, what kinds of challenges did you face getting into this role? And he talked about things that he didn't even think were possible, that the producers and the production team really pushed him to do and pushed him past his limits. And he was able to do these things that he thought were impossible. And that right there got me so psyched. But I will tell you this, I am super excited about seeing Barney Harris take on the role of Matt. Because of, and a lot of you know that we were, a lot of people were geeking out over his social media, Instagram, Twitter, and whatnot. And he shared a meme that I made, and it was awesome. But that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that Matt is sort of the everyman. And I feel like Barney Harris has a really good handle on that playful sort of, yeah, man, whatever happens, let's do this, let's go. And even has that bit of a retreat when things are unsteady or unstable. So I'm really excited to see, just from getting to know Barney on social media, getting to know him on social media, I'm really looking forward to seeing that translate into one of our favorite characters.
Cool. So question 5 is, which cast member are you least excited by, but hopefully that they will smash your expectations? And this one was actually really, really hard for me, because just unfortunately they haven't given us anybody that I just don't really care about the character at all. And so I ended up going with the actor for Padan Fane, Johan Myers. And the reason that I am going with that is because I'm afraid. That's just the answer, is that Johan Myers has such a tall order to play this character that is just so otherworldly that, again, I am really excited to see him pull it off. I am really excited to see what the special effects department and his acting and everything can come up with to actually make this fucking insane, terrifying character. But unfortunately, it's just such a tall order that I'm a little worried and I'm a little scared. So, Johan, prove me wrong.
So I will say, oh God, this is a tough one, because there are a lot of really great things about all of these characters. And I know I'm about to get flack for this, and
probably not.
Please stay with me on this one. But as excited as I am to see Alvaro Morte as Logain, I too share the nerves that Daniel feels, because that
was my second choice.
he hasn't read the series. And when he auditioned, they said, audition for this character. And he gave an interview where he was like, I hadn't read the series, and they wanted to go right now. And Logain doesn't even appear for, whatever. And now he's in the first. So I'm kind of like, first off, they're adding a lot to Logain's story. We know this because he's already been cast in the first season, which in the books, like, Logain has like 2 seconds. So I'm kind of nervous to see but it's not even necessarily about Alvaro's acting, because we know he's a stupendous actor. It's more about his interpretation of a character that maybe he's not as familiar with.
Sure.
Combined with the fact that we've already been confirmed to have much more storyline with Logain, which I'm very, very excited about, but also very, very nervous about. So it's got me having feelings.
Yep. Understandable.
Please don't take that as any way that I am not excited about it, though. It's just, when you're ranking them best to worst, most to least, like, there's got to be a best, there's got to be a least. That doesn't mean that I'm not still happy about it. That doesn't mean that I'm not still excited about it. It just means that's the one that I'm most concerned with.
Yep.
Sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
You're muted.
There we go. So mine, I had to base it 100% entirely off the character because I haven't seen the works of everybody that's been cast.
Sure.
I can't choose it based off of the actor. So I'm choosing it purely based off of the character, and the character is Aram, so that's Daryl McCormick. I can't stand Aram. He reminds me of every douchey high school teenager ever, and
true.
I can't stand him. There's only one good scene
When I
with him.
was a young boy.
So but I am excited for Daryl McCormick to make me enjoy, Aram far more than I ever did with the books. So regardless of reread, I've reread after reread, I never have enjoyed Aram.
Reread.
Well, there you go.
So.
All right,
There
Josh.
it is. And I'll agree with that. Question numero 6 or 6. Which scene from the first half of the Eye of the World are you most excited to see adapted to the screen? Now, we are going to hone this in specifically to prior to the separation at Shadar Logoth. Okay. I'm not going to say Winter Night because that's low hanging fruit. That is easy peasy, Wheel of Time easy. I don't know what. I'm going to find a good one for that. What I am going to say, the scene that I'm most excited about is Trollocs storming Rand's home. Because I think we've got a real opportunity for, again, youth, inexperience, obliviousness of Rand, but we've got a real experience for Tam to be the sweet, soft-handed, soft-spoken, kind, soft-mannered, wise father to the badass Heron Mark soldier in a flash.
Yep.
And I feel, I'm getting goosebumps like right now just thinking about it. Like that scene, just how smart Tam is and how he instantly puts his faith in Rand, and Rand is able to, with Ta'Veren armor, survive. But Tam is able to command that situation really, really well. And I'm really excited to see that scene.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Mine also involves Trollocs, and it is the lead up to right before Shadar Logoth, when they've been fleeing from Trollocs, and then they get into the skirmish right before pretty much getting into Shadar Logoth. So it'll be the first time we see full party in combat, fighting for their lives. I think they could do it really good. Yeah.
Love it.
Mine is definitely the Manetherin story. I am so excited to hear Rosamund Pike go ahead and recite that and have it be, this moment where all the townsfolk are coming out with their torches and pitchforks, and she utterly turns it around and goes, "Bruh, y'all were so cool. What happened?" And have them be like, no, we're still like that. We just forgot a little. We'll show you in a little bit.
It's like when you show pictures of your childhood. You were so cute. What happened?
Right. But yeah.
All right. So question 7. Based on the few teasers we have seen so far, what are your opinions on the style or aesthetic that the show is going for? I like it. That's pretty much like as in-depth and intellectual as my opinion it gets on it. I like it. I'm a big fan of medieval themes, and it seems like everything they're going for encompasses a lot of medieval themes, but also seems to just very much encapsulate Robert Jordan's blending and meshing of cultures from all across the world, at least cultures that he could experience through the 70s, 80s, 90s. Early 2000s, like that kind of stuff. So yeah,
nice. Yeah, I was gonna effectively say the same thing. I really think that they have captured a a time period and a style that really feels very much like people moving from medieval times into a Renaissanceian era. And I think that's perfect. I think that, you know, still with that, we're learning and we know things and we're aware of certain faults, but we're also still very rough around the edges as a, you know, a land. I really like that idea and the feel behind all of that. I think it captures the Wheel of Time well.
So I'm going to be the contrarian of the group in this point in time, because I agree with both of what my cohorts are saying. There's just one thing that gives me pause, and that was the very first thing they gave us was the Aes Sedai symbol, and it was backwards. Now, easy mistake to make for a casual. I feel like, I hope that this was their one. You get one. Any further mess ups like this will not be received well. So I am very excited about what they're going for.
Are you sure it was backwards, or was it just a feel that someone was holding?
It was backwards.
Maybe
and
you were seeing it from behind the flag.
They even apologized to Lauren and said, "Oh shit, you noticed. Oops." Like, they acknowledged it was backwards. So that's your one. Okay.
Fair
Other
enough.
than that, I'm stupid excited for everything. And like I said, I hope that was their one. And I hope that from here on out, it's okay. We've got to double check things. You know, you guys, you can give us a call. We're available. We will make ourselves available. So I know you guys watch. Anyway.
All right. So we're going to go on to question 8. Do any of the props and settings we've seen so far match your mental image of the world? And for this, I am going to go to the Heron Mark sword. I love it. I think it's perfect. Again, while I am aware and appreciative of the drawing that is in the books, of the sort of, you know, version of it that we've gotten before, I always, until I actually saw a picture of the artist rendering of the Heron Mark blade, I always imagined it as katana. There was not a moment in my mind where it to me was not a katana until I saw the artist rendering. And then, of course, if we're being honest, I said fuck you to the artist rendering and kept thinking of it as a katana. But at the same time,
once it's your head canon, that's what it is.
But I also appreciated the sort of that none of the details on the artist rendering were wrong. They were just not my view. And so the fact that they sort of remedied that is not the right word, because again,
right.
It's just they made it more my headcanon, which is not inherently right. I just appreciated that my headcanon is more what they were going for. And so unfortunately, I apologize to anyone whose headcanon that wasn't, and they made it more not your headcanon. But for me, it was a really nice change.
So for my answer on this, you know, I will use the Heron Mark sword as an example because I own the museum replicas officially licensed Wheel of Time Heron Mark blade. And as anybody can attest to, it's a beautiful sword, but it does not match the book description. But they made it, and Robert Jordan was like, it looks great. You guys are awesome.
It doesn't not match. It also doesn't match.
Exactly. So when they released the new one, my head had to adjust. When they said the TV show, they said, this is how it is. My head had to say, okay, that's what it was. This is what it is.
Yep.
But there is one thing that my head did not have to adjust. And that was when they released the Wine Spring Inn. Nice, when they showed that first image of the Wine Spring Inn. Now, granted, I don't visualize things well. Okay. I don't translate text into visions well. I
ADD doesn't do well with visualization. What?
But yeah, it's why the Black Tower podcast can take a 30-minute segment and turn it into 2 hours. But the Wine Spring Inn, it was that sort of a thatched roof with the smoking chimney and just very comfortable and warm and welcoming. It's a feeling. Okay. So when I take those words off the page, I get that feeling, is a better way to describe it. And when they showed that on screen and said, look, it's the Wine Spring Inn, I went, that's it. I'm in Emmons Field, and that's the Wine Spring Inn. And it was a beautiful moment for me, because it spoke volumes about how much they cared about this production. And to translate that feeling, sorry if that sounds a little heely-feely, but to translate that feeling so beautifully into a physical location was absolutely perfect for me.
Yeah. To try to keep this succinct, setting, yes, it matches well enough, because some stuff I didn't really imagine super thoroughly, like the Wine Spring Inn. I never super thoroughly imagined what it would look like. Looks like a medieval tavern / inn, so it works for me. Props, nothing matches what I expected or my mental image, except for what we've seen of Moraine's attire. So Moraine's attire matches pretty well, but the ruby hilted dagger, Tam's sword, those
Tom's
don't match.
guitar.
Yeah,
I appreciate
doesn't
the
match.
change, but it doesn't feel court party to me.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little disappointed with that change, because fucking Rob made his video and he was talking about oh, you can't actually carry around a big harp, but also a little harp seems like Tom would be lame. No, are you fucking kidding me? There are absolutely harps that are that size, that are designed for this, that were carried around by fucking court bards. I can show you goddamn pictures.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I was watching Rob's video and I almost slapped him through the
Daniel's triggered.
Screen.
Yeah. So otherwise, it all. But the thing that it doesn't matter if it matches my mental image or yours or anybody else's. As long as it's fair and true to the books. It said ruby hilted dagger. There is a ruby in the hilt. The generic descriptions, bar a couple things like anything else. How we can't super criticize when things aren't exactly as described in the book in the TV series, whenever there's websites that still have the flag of Eric Damon completely fucking wrong and haven't changed it over the last 2 decades or however long they've been around. So but yeah, let's go ahead and kind of wind this out, because we have a recording after this. If you wonder why we're not spending a lot of time talking about each one,
it's recording night.
Yeah. Josh,
and we have some
question number 9. Give an example of what you expect for the music for the series to sound like, using a past TV show or music score that you think is close. Now, I have been an advocate from day one that I want people. It was. I want people for the next 10 years to be singing "Toss a coin to your Witcher" only Wheel of Time. Okay. And if there's one person,
dance with Jack of the Shadows,
one person, Jack of the Shadows better be on everyone's lips. Okay. And the one person who needs to score this, or has come close to encapsulating the Wheel of Time feeling, and that is Androl, the Bard of Time. You, sir, should be hired. Go.
That's
all there is to it. That's an easy one for me.
I very much expect something that is very semi-reminiscent of Lord of the Rings style, especially the battle scores. I see that being very similar. As far as others, if you literally go on YouTube and you search for tavern music for D&D, I expect a lot of those kind of scores, because the story feels very very D&D-esque. I could see this. if they had come out and said that Robert Jordan made this story based entirely off of a D&D campaign with him and some buddies, I would have bought it hook, line, and sinker. Even if they said it now, I mean, I'd want some proof, but at least some character sheets or something.
Matt, where's his notes? Where are they?
But if you have 5 people with over 2,600 character sheets between them, I mean, that's got to be an epic campaign.
Yeah, it's true.
But what about you, Daniel?
No, I have somewhat of a similar answer. I mean, I think that Howard Stone, who composed the music for Lord of the Rings, just absolutely encapsulated the world so well. And part of that was really the difference between the different times and the different places. I mean, in Emmons Field, there should absolutely be a lot of and then, of course, when they're fighting the Forsaken, you don't want it to sound anything like that. But if it sounds like Helm's Deep, like you're on the goddamn right track. Like we're good. Or sorry, Howard Shore, not Stone. I apologize. Howard Shore.
I was gonna say, wait a minute.
True. But yeah, I mean, I think that's perfect. The other thing that I like the influence of is there's a lot of Celtic music that I actually really appreciate, that I also feel both feels very medieval as well as feels very appropriate for the Wheel of Time. And Outlander, the television show, I feel like actually really does a good job of showcasing that. So if they sort of combine these sort of the feel of the movie Lord of the Rings and the show Outlander, I feel like it'll be pretty perfect.
Sweet.
I even looked up the name and I still got it wrong. I'm so annoyed.
So the last part of this is for us to tag other creators or friends and of course share this out, which obviously we're going to share this out. It'd be really weird to record an episode and never put it out, or episode of BTP Reacts. Yeah, still an episode, I guess. So for me, and I'm hoping that they haven't already been tagged, but I'm going to tag Tracy and Amber over at Road to Tar Valon. So they're fantastic. If you haven't listened to their stuff
yet,
if you haven't listened to any of their content yet, make sure you go and check out what they do. They've done an episode with us, and we'll be doing more in the future for sure.
Super awesome ladies.
Who would you tag, Daniel?
I'm going to go with Allie and Gus over at The Wheel Takes. I think that they both have really great different opinions on things, especially given where Allie is in the series. I feel like it'll be perfect for them to go ahead and do this segment, as well as I want to see what Gus's different takes are that are based on other things further on that Allie doesn't know about. So there you go.
I'm going to take this one in a different direction because it was the only specification we got was content creator. Yeah. I want to read about this in the Weekly Wheel News.
All right. I can see that.
Bring it to me, J. Jonah Jameson of the Weekly Wheel News.
And because there's no cap, I think I feel safe in saying this because we've used his music in the past, but all 3 of us collectively are going to tap Androl. So,
Androl, give us your video and also some fucking music. Question 9 is yours.
It's going to be
if you can answer each question in a song.
That's what I was going to say. Happy. Like a 9 or 10 part series.
That'll be your audition.
Yo, Shastradowski, and I'm singing a song about how he's the best. Hey.
Sweet. So down below there'll be links to Vance's original video or the Bard of the Red Hands original video, whichever you know him as. Rob from Malkier Talks video where we were tagged, as well as links to everybody that we have tapped or tagged or whatever you want to call it for. I shouldn't say tapped. That sounds really bad. And every time I say it, I think
no, it doesn't. You're
tapped on the shoulder.
Only if you have your fucking mind in the gutter. Get out.
Just because I am 27 doesn't mean I'm 27. But yeah, so thought that was pretty cool. Thank you so much again, Rob, for tagging us for it. Thank you, Vance, for putting this together and putting this tag out there. I know I've seen a few of the tags make the rounds in the past, and this is actually the first one we've been tagged in to do, at least that I'm aware of, that I've seen. And I don't think anybody would necessarily hide it from us, but
We might be taken with the taint too. Thank you for the tag. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tagging. Thank you for being. You're awesome. Yep. We appreciate it.
And so in typical Reacts fashion, we're going to go record an episode now. So